He's been through it a bit, I think. Tell me again, David, you cut that mantle?
I cut that mantle on the sawmill.
Okay. What kind of wood do you know?
Jack pine.
Jack pine, okay.
It's me.
I think it's about 6 inches thick. And
yeah.
Beautiful.
Who did the fireplace?
I don't know.
We're at Oak Island Resort.
Yes, we are at Oak Island Resort. And David is telling us about the mantle he cut in sawmill. It's been here.
Here's a picture. Well, someone's drawn.
What they copied off of?
Well, it's a... Dick, I'm not a fisherman.
That is a big one, let me tell you.
Yeah.
That is a beauty. It's got to be maybe 50 inches, what do you think?
Yes, it would be, yeah. Oh, yes.
And I would guess, I don't know how many pounds. That's a big fish. Look at the girth.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Whew.
That is a big fish.
How big a muskie have you on?
That on the hill back here, 100 yards or so.
Okay.
But it's grown in so there that can't even tell there's a hill there.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Well, walking up there we could tell it was a hill.
Yeah. Right. So why was it on the hill and not right down here, do you suppose?
So this has been...
I guess that was state property up there and this was privately owned.
Oh, maybe. Okay.
Yeah. Well, this is state, that was state property over there. And this is so this isn't where we took the pictures. So this isn't exactly where you took the pictures, you're saying, Dad?
No.
But it's the exact building.
Exact building, yeah.
Yes. Only kind of.
It was still farther back there.
This porch was just kind of a wood shop.
Yeah. Who else taught here?
Oh, Lou Hansen and August Strebachen from Badet and Jeannie Kroska, I think her name was.
They're all just a few years older than you.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite memory? Do you have one, David?
No, not really.
No.
Were you a good student?
Yeah.
Got your homework done and there, all that kind of stuff?
How about Charles?
There was no homework. No, Charles wasn't the best.
Is this where Charles had to stay after school?
Yep, that's right.
And who else? Well, if there was 5 of you here, who else was here?
It was Charles and I, Johnny and Leroy Nordenstrom and Kenny Earl. And I know one year Dorothy Earl went to school here too.
5 boys, huh?
Yeah.
Huh.
And the teacher lived about a mile away?
A mile over at Earl's, yeah.
Okay.
And so...
So how much do you think she made a year?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was by the month, but
Was Hattie married to an Earl? Was Hattie married to an Earl?
yeah, Ivan.
Ivan Earl. So they were a pioneer family up here, were
Yeah.
the Earl family?
And then when he died, she married Obenchain.
I never knew either one of those guys.
And how did she meet him?
Who?
Hattie, was she at Crookston? When her kids had to go to high school, she went to Crookston and she was the house mother there. And I was wondering if that's how they met.
I don't know. I never heard that before, but she could have been.
Well, where did she pick him up,
Right here?
do you think?
Oberchain?
Yeah. Or Ivan.
Because he's from
How
Idaho.
did your dad pick up your mother?
Well, she came down to work at Portage Bay. Something like that.
Thought that man.
What did it look like?
Well, it's just a jack
Piece of
pine
wood?
log. Jack pine log.
Oh, it's not
Is that
much.
what it is?
It's not much.
I'll be darned. What year was that? Do you remember?
No.
Jack always told me that they started building that lodge in '59. That sound about right? Finished it in '60?
If not.
1960?
Could be about that.
Yeah.
Right in there, David, what happened?
Right in there.
We're gonna have to go home and
Debbie
fry this
Butler that
away.
took over Charles' boat service, he backed into the rock.
Oh, okay, all right. Uh-oh.
Reef out there.
Oh, she wouldn't do that again, will she, David?
No.
Oh, fine. always, my friend. Let's go climb up there right now, David.
And then we went ashore and built a fire and everything. She could see the fire and that, but she had no way of getting over there either. So the next morning when they found him, he was dead.
This was like in the late fall or something?
I can't remember what time of year it was, but it was
Goddamn flight.
The storm came up and it just was impossible for him to get even that little distance.
So near and yet so...
Yes, I wish I could see a picture of him so I could see if I would remember. Because I remember staying in that.
Was that when you lived up here?
Well, Joe and Evelyn lived in that house for a year.
We stayed there one winter.
You did too?
Yeah, because I don't know why.
I don't either, but I know that
I know we
we stayed there because
Here we are. Sunday morning. Just before 8. August the 7th. Beautiful morning.
and we're raring to go.
Yes, we're all dressed. And like the old thing about the party girl, all dressed up and nowhere to go, right?
Yeah, that's it.
I just was looking at over here. This is Tish and Dick Johnson's cabin, what Charles built. Whose cabin was this, Evelyn, again?
What they called the honeymoon cabin, I don't
The
know.
honeymoon cabin?
Yeah. I guess somebody come up here on the honeymoon and built it or something, or they built it for him, or...
One of the first places here, they said, and it was a doctor from Fargo, someone said earlier. Said yesterday, I'm not sure, it's on an earlier tape. This is the one view of Charles's place here. There. Oh, here comes one of the local legends himself. Okay.
Fenix's cabin over there, huh? Is that Fenix's cabin? No.
David, your wife said someone, a native guy shot himself in that little cabin over there?
Yeah.
What was it called?
Just someone who worked for the camp and
They shot himself the last people that were...
just did himself in.
That was Stocko, I believe. The Stocko cabin.
Okay.
It's Stocko on the outside.
Yeah, I guess it must have been Stocko, yeah.
Okay. And this big old pine tree has been here forever, but he's lost the battle.
Oh, yeah.
Slightly different shot. Behind Charles's. Fisherman taking off. Gets on the way by. Already on the lake. He's ordering Bloody Marys, is he?
Well, I think he's just teasing.
Those guys have arrived.
The dog went first.
Tell us about Dakota Red and your first toboggan.
Well, Dakota Red was a moonshiner, and he needed bottles to put his moonshine in to sell to the Indians or whoever. And at that time, the folks had the resort at Flag and one up at Portage Bay, and the guests would drink their whiskey and then throw their bottles away, and I would collect them and take them over to Dakota Red, and he'd give me a nickel a bottle for them. And I earned enough money to buy my first 6-foot toboggan with money that I collected from selling whiskey bottles. But they didn't care too much about the Canadian bottles because they were larger, and the Indians wanted a full bottle rather than that was over a pint or a quart, and they wanted full bottle, and moonshiners didn't like that. So, but they generally took him.
And where did he live? Dakota Red?
Well, he lived at one time on Flag, right there where Dick Myers had his place, and then he moved over to Oak
Okay.
and lived there.
All right. How much? You remember how much you think you paid for the toboggan? You remember now?
No, I don't.
Huh.
I doubt if it was over $6.
But that was still a lot of bottles.
Oh yes, I had to collect, I think, for a couple of years to get enough to.
Excellent.
That's where they was all
That's yours.
So he also lived in Sandy Beach, David, you said, yes?
And it was kind of a stopover. See, it would take 2 days normally to go to Warroad with the team, so they had Sandy Beach is about halfway, and Dakota, they'd stay at Dakota Reds. And I know my aunt said one time she was going in with, that's Charlie Frenchman's wife, and she found mice in the flower bin. But when Charlie Frenchman freighted, he had a big team that was well cared for, and he would go from like Flag to Buffalo Point and stay there with the Indians, and then the next day he'd go into Warroad, unload his freight and pick up whatever he had, and then come back to Buffalo Point, and then the next day come to Flag, so he could make a trip in 3 days.
Where it took other people 4.
Most of them took 4.
Yes. Huh.
I remember one winter, or talk about it, but they had a road through the woods that came out by the old mine, and he'd go out west and buy these rugged horses, and they had a 4-horse team. They walked all day with a load. They got out to the mine, and he went inside, and his team ran away on him.
Oh, man.
They weren't tired out. They were ready to go.
Unreal.
What was his name?
Bill Wiltsey.
Okay.
Girl, the Wilsey girl. Arnold Panessi. Did you ever hear of that name?
I've heard the name.
Yeah, he was kind of a popular Indian way back, real sharp-looking Indian man. But he died early, maybe in his 20s, 30, maybe it was 30, but I don't know what happened. He finally moved to Grand Forks and didn't make it out.
What was his name again, Evelyn?
Arnold Panessi.
Okay. A local person.
Yeah, he was from around here, but to begin with, but then she took him to Grand Forks, and I don't know what happened after they married. They had a couple little boys, and it's a wonder we don't hear them coming back, because they looked very much Indianly like the boys. Like the mother, they didn't
So
look like.
there was an Indian settlement at Buffalo Point that took him in, eh?
Yeah. Another story I remember on going with horses. I was just coming from school, and Pete Duma was hitching up his horses about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and he was heading for Warroad. He didn't have a sleigh. He had a big toboggan, but it was a nasty day, you know, blowing and everything. 4 o'clock in the afternoon, he'd taken off for work, a team of horses. So I suppose he'd go as far as Sandy Beach, but it'd be midnight or more before he got there.
Hi.
Another one that never started anything in the morning. He'd wait till late afternoon before he started tackling the job.
And he was a commercial fisherman, right?
Yeah.
And hot summer days, they talked about how Franny, and I'd seen to me that Pete Dumas and somebody used to work for him, and when they'd be coming in, they'd have an inner tube or something, and they'd go over the side of the boat, and the boat would pull them in this inner tube kind of as a cooling off thing on the way back to Warroad. And there was some deal how the inner tube got loose, and Franny, you know, they were pretty heavy drinkers, and
Yeah.
and they didn't realize the inner tube was loose, and the guy was got untied from the boat somewhere or something. And some of the stories I tell you were just unbelievable.
Did he have some mink too?
I think probably he did.
Yeah.
Franny Parker was the name we're talking about?
Yeah.
Franny
Yeah,
Parker.
yeah.
I just was that out by where the trailer park is now on the highway? Was that where he had the mink?
I don't remember.
Seemed like something about.
They talked about that. They told about in the bar one night. I don't know. I mean, you maybe remember his name, but Franny got in a fight and he hit a guy, and the guy hit the back of his head on the curb or something and killed him. One of that bar where Cody Bray, you know, what it used to be.
Some of those fishermen didn't get killed or crushed. They'd go out there in rough water and then transfer from their launch to the little kicker boat
Yeah,
and lift their nets.
yeah.
And then when they come back, they'd put the fish boxes
Yeah.
back into the boat.
You know, Charles was talking about the other day, you know, about having your balance in a little 16-foot or 14-foot boat,
Yeah.
and you're picking nets, you know, standing up, pulling that net over and picking those fish off, and how now he said that he'd be in the lake in 5 minutes. And he used to do that all day long in a little boat before, you know.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Well, they talk. Yeah,
And set their gill net box in the back of the boat,
yes,
start the engine going ahead,
yes.
and then they would reel out the net, and they were always wearing slickers or something that
Yes.
had buttons on it. If they ever got caught, over they'd go, and the boat would keep going.
Yes.
But they never, I don't know of anybody that has ever drowned
Yeah.
commercial fishing.
Yeah. Well, huh. And you're talking about it, and they would fish too when the weather would be like late in the fall when it's still, it's
Oh.
icy and slippery, or in the spring, you know, it'd be freezing on the boat seats and stuff, wouldn't it? And yeah, it'd be like in a skating rink, right? And they'd have rubber boots. And
Get up in the morning. I've been here in the fall. When you get up in the morning, you'd try to go down to your boat, and,
Yes.
and I mean, you couldn't stop.
Yes.
And you didn't realize how icy it was. And the docks would be slippery. And
I don't know just what.
he was married to Elvin Johnston's sister.
Yeah, Vernabelle.
Yeah, Vernabelle. Yeah.
Vernabelle, that's quite a name.
So they all tied in someplace there.
They were all mink ranchers, mink farmers.
I don't know what those women are doing.
Talking, I can hear them.
Yeah.
I thought they were bringing your lunch right away too.
Those fish boats, they all had car engines in them, and the manifold was never water cooled. At night they were just red,
Okay.
and the gas tank was always up in front, and the fire extinguisher hung on the frame around the engine.
Oh, okay.
So if you had a fire,
Couldn't get to it anyway.
and it was always those pyrene fire extinguishers, and now they're outlawed.
What are you thinking?
Wow.
I was thinking of something,
Oh, I mean,
but I can't remember what it was.
David, or she said to me, you know, I remember when you used to braid your hair, you know, in French braids. Mary could do that, and so when we lived out on the island here, then she did French braids, and she said, I never will forget what David told you the first time I French braided your hair. Looked at you and said, you look like a giraffe.
A giraffe. Oh, God.
Does that sound familiar, Marina?
Giraffe.
Oh, I was little and skinny yet, and you know, with that long braids on the side. This looked like a giraffe. David didn't remember it though. So that's a remark. It was a loving remark.
Yeah.
Honey, do you like giraffes?
He must. Some things you say in a passing remark,
Yeah.
some people remember for the rest of their lives.
Well, look at it.
Yeah.
We've been married 62 years, so it had to be about 60 years ago.
Everybody wet?
Somebody should go put on makeup. Before I get my picture taken.
Hey, David, where are we going to now?
We're going down to Walter Nelson's old farmstead.
Okay, and what did Walter have down there?
He had milk cows, some beef cows, and he raised a lot of hay for his livestock.
And was he one of the guys that had a cattle drive here?
Yes, I used to walk the cattle out to Reed River where the cattle truck would come and pick them up.
Would that be a yearly thing?
They were generally a yearly thing.
Okay. Oh, there's fields here.
Yeah, he had quite a field here where
Your farm.
Well, the old guy turned over in his grave, wouldn't he? Yeah. We could take up farming, Evelyn. Put a straw hat on you and put you on the tractor.
He had an old hand plow that you held within him with a...
So, David, who would know all these old things?
well, I don't know. Some of the kids, as I suppose.
Oh, okay.
I doubt if Walter Nelson himself ever did that.
I was going to say that the fields go on way around here.
Yeah.
Catch us when we get up on the ridge a bit more. More of the farm. Oh, that's the
McKeever's flag.
Oh, okay.
Pardon me?
Hi.
Hello.
We had to see what your place was like after all these years. I'm
Oh, Evelyn. Oh, hi, Evelyn. How are you? How's everybody else? How's your family?
Good, yeah. This is my daughter, my younger Maureen. Now, I don't know.
Hi, Maureen.
Hi, how are you? The boys, Mike and
Yes.
Ronnie, but I don't
More
know.
so. She
Yeah,
was just
correct.
little.
Yeah.
Makes us seem so
shades
old,
off you.
doesn't it?
Yes.
We both of us.
Oh, this is a boat engine.
That Fritz Carlson did that boat.
Okay.
And this plow, that was Walter Nelson, 1920 he homesteaded here,
Yes.
and they used to farm 160 acres.
And how many years did he keep the farm? Did he operate the farm, do you think?
Oh, gee.
Till when? Sometime in the 50s?
No, Eve, when did your dad quit farming?
Oh, gosh. He died when Cindy was 2, so that's 33 years ago.
Yeah, but what year? Was that 70?
72?
Yeah. He was working right to the very last day when he had to go into the hospital.
Really?
Hospital 1 week.
My goodness. This
Now
is
that must be a
I found that at the point.
85
Yeah, I
within
was
the next couple of
going along with the canoe and I hit something. I looked, what the heck? It was only this deep.
Yeah.
That's a funny rounded shaping rock. So I got out and started digging, and it's an old Detroit
We could drive
Detroit
in,
motor,
because we got
one
the rear
gun.
end, but we like
Huh.
it like this.
He used to have a fishery right
Okay.
out there at the point, and that would no doubt be a motor
There's
out of
nothing to
his.
do, they'll make something to do. You know,
Yeah, you said they used to tar their nets there or something, and things like that. Yeah, that was all gone when I met Eve. So, but Fritz Carlson, that was Norman Carlson's and Swede Carlson's dad, built that boat for Eve's dad. I guess he was a boat builder in Sweden, I guess.
Well, he did a lot of boat building here too.
Okay. They were actually in the bush, so there's no more bottom in it, so I just dragged it up and put a mast on it and for decoration.
I was telling Jim that Walter Nelson, in the fall, when they shipped their cattle, they'd walk them from here up to Reed River. That's as far as the road came. And then they'd have cattle trucks come.
It's isolated enough, eh?
Well, we're
Yeah.
here all by ourselves.
Yeah.
We're very fortunate so far.
And you got this bank of stuff along here. People can't get to your property from the lake.
Right. Well, up to you see the tall reeds. That water
Yeah.
comes. You could probably boat up to there.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah.
But it's still a hike to the
Yes. Yeah.
property here, yes. Oh, yes.
And then we have the river. Anytime we just have to go down with
Oh, sure, right where the buildings are there. Ooh, yeah.
turn the crank and
They would remember. Maureen probably didn't know about this stuff, but we used to turn it by hand ourselves. Just manually.
Oh, yes, I did that. Ours,
Did you too?
my parents had one, but it was all metal.
Oh.
Well, that'd be Saturday morning chore. You had to crank the churn.
Never seen a metal one, but did you have the old separator?
Hey, who you're talking to, Evelyn?
Oh, I don't know her last name.
What was her maiden name?
Eva Nelson.
Oh, okay, okay.
Sahara.
Yeah,
Got that?
yes.
Okay.
And we're at the farm, right?
Right, we're at
And he farmed here from the 1920s till 1970s?
Yeah, from Waller.
Yes.
Waller
Okay.
Walker's Farm.
Okay.
Still have the
So we've
original
just
bill
been
of sale.
Friends for a long time. The kids went to
Dad
school
bought
together.
this.
That's where we
Okay.
just got all the
All right. Oh, look, we have more chairs over here. Okay.
We
Yeah.
quite often have a lot of company.
No, she's just right in the thing. Did she leave me? No, she's right there yet. Oh, there she is. Oh, yeah. Just keep going slow, David. Now, oh, no, stop. Whoa. Back up a little bit. Ooh, well, good. So, oh, too far. Head an inch. There we go. Good. Holy cow, she's right there. Look at the big eyes and everything. Oh, well, very big.
Don Hanson was coming from Pine Creek with the mail, and he had Norman Carlson's wife with him and one of the boys, and they got out over this, they call it the Hanson Bog, and he had engine trouble, and that was the only place where he could sit down. It was on a float plane. So he sat down there, and she started walking back to the Pine Creek, and she would have had about 6 miles to walk, her and the boy, and Don was going to stay and see if he could get what was wrong with the engine and get it going again, and the spark plug had came out. So he put the spark plug back in, tightened it up, and he said he cleaned out the plane, everything, the old winter mittens and everything he could possibly get out of there. They took out of the plane, started that up, went way back to the end, and took out of there, and then he flew back to Norman Carlson's and told him that they were walking back. So him and Norman then, they started down the Logan Road to meet him. And they met him partways, and they still had to walk the whole way.
So they literally landed this plane just on a muskeg bog,
Just on the Muskeg Bog.
and got her going flew out again. That's got to be amazing.
Yeah.
Before that?
Earlier in 60, because we moved to town in 61.
Okay.
So sometime in the 50s he would have done that.
50s.
Yeah.